Mike is muted. Your UNLV football team is 6-0, folks. What a game. UNLV takes down Air Force in one of the most absurd shootouts that I have ever seen. We're bowl eligible, guys, and we're undefeated. This is the Let's Run podcast. Folks, welcome to the show today. Grateful to have you. This UNLV football team is without a doubt one of the most hilarious, entertaining, high-wire act teams that I have ever seen, and an absolute blast, thrill, and a pleasure to cover. I couldn't be happier, man. I'm so happy. Steven says, oh snap, I made it in time. Yeah, Steven, I was not able to get home very fast. Normally for post-game shows, I try and sprint home as quickly as I can, but I for this game, I had to stay until the very end. And so let's do it. Rev Robert says that's how he does it. Never been 6-0 in my lifetime. Yep, it's hard to be upset. I mean, like, look, there's a lot of things you can poke holes in this team's defense and this team's record and this team's resume, but 6-0 is 6-0, man. And we're not just 6-0. We're an entertaining 6-0. That's kind of one of the things that I love about this team and I love about where this program is. We're a good ticket, man. It's like Dirt Nap Charlie says. Best ticket in town. Absolutely. Guys, during the course of this live stream where we're talking about this UNLV football game, please do leave your comments. I want to know your opinions about this team. I want to know what you think about this Rebel defense, what you think about Anthony Calandria, who is quickly turning into one of the best people to ever put on a UNLV football uniform. And I want to break down this game, man. Yeah, we are, like Steven says, we are absolutely a blast to watch. Steven says, man, as I said, I thought the over-under was more appropriate at 80. Turns out I was right. Yeah, try 100. This game was a blast. Reb Robert, 7 days until the biggest football game in UNLV history. Yes, 1 week from today, we will be in Boise playing against the Broncos on the blue. Going to be a tough game. I'd say by far the best team we've played, although UCLA is looking a lot better than they had looked previously. Huge game a week from now. Brian Smith says the D is horrid. Yeah, the D stinks, man. This UNLV defense did not have a good day. They didn't even, I wouldn't even say this team made enough plays to really contribute to winning. Every chance that this UNLV defense had to make a mistake, with the exception of really one play, and it was they did have to make that play for us to have a chance to win this game. And that, of course, is the turnover, which was recovered by Marcel McDuffie. You can give them credit. We did get a turnover, but we did win this game without a late game turnover, kind of saving our butts on the defensive side of the ball. This D, it's a struggle, man. It really is. And I know that Mullen knows they have to be better. Gunther knows they have to be better. Everybody knows they have to be better. We're not the most talented defense in the world. We do have talented players, but we're not the most talented defense in the world. And one thing you should understand is that this Air Force offense has been lighting up every team that they've played. I know that Air Force is 1-5 now, so it's not like they're a good team or anything, but boy, oh boy, can that Air Force offense score. And so while yes, it's absolutely appropriate to be critical of the UNLV defense in this one, that Air Force offense is electric and really tough to stop. And nobody's really stopped them. I think Navy's probably done the best job, and that's because they are also a triple option team. You look at Air Force's schedule this season. I mean, they're not very good. They beat Bucknell, which is a Division II FCS type team. They lose at Utah State. There were some turnover issues in that game. They gave up 49 points to Utah State. I mean, they've really given up. They've given up over 44 points or over in 5 out of their 6 games. Which is just remarkable. I mean, that Air Force defense is truly horrendous, but UNLV's defense was almost as horrendous today. Reb Robert says, you don't judge anything against academies. Dirty football tied to injure our players all game. We won't play anything like that again this year. They have no business at this level of football. I'll say, Robert, that I always really respect the academies, especially Air Force. I'm a big fan of them, and I love that they play Division I college football, and I'm honored to be in Air Force's conference. There was definitely some holding and some kind of chop blocks, some low blocks from Air Force in this game. They they knew that they could beat this UNLV defense, and they pulled out all the stops to try and score all the points that they could to do it. And they very nearly did. So I'm a big fan of Air Force. But yeah, Brian says Calandria is something else. Need to keep him healthy. Yeah, I mean, this team goes as Anthony Calandria goes. I mean, that's just a fact. And Anthony Calandria, maybe, I mean, outside of Randall Cunningham, is at this point at 6-0. I mean, can we say he's the second best quarterback to ever play for UNLV football? He might be. Now, there's probably some guys that's a little disrespectful to, but Calandria is playing so well. And let's pull up the stats here, guys. Let's start talking about kind of the way that this game unfolded. Let's play this one. All right, let's pull up the stats. Woo! I can't believe it, man. 51-48. I thought the Rebels would win this game, but I was really worried about it, and for good reason, because this Air Force offense is electric. And so taking a look at the statistics. Oh, shoot, sorry. Kind of clicking around here. Taking a look at the statistics for this one. UNLV puts up 51 points. Anthony Calandria finishes 361 yards, 20 of 32, 1 touchdown, only 11 carries for Jet Thomas. Ridiculous, preposterous, absurd, outrageous, stupid. The way that this team is using Jet is not good enough. And Mullen recognized that in the second half and started to basically force offensive coordinator Corey Dennis to start running the ball with Jet more. But just absurd. In terms of first downs, Air Force gained 32 first downs, UNLV 24. UNLV was getting more chunk plays than Air Force. On third down, UNLV 5 of 11, Air Force 4 of 10. Fourth down, UNLV was only had the one fourth down. Air Force was 3 of 4 on fourth down in the game. 603 yards to 597 yards. So again, UNLV outgained in this game, although it was such a close margin that's not really that important. In terms of passing, UNLV had 377 yards of total passing. Air Force finishes with 428 yards on the ground. One of the most absurd, defensive. I mean, the thing is, UNLV, Coach Mullen said this after the game. I was listening to his post-game press conference. UNLV had players in positions to make plays against Air Force, but Air Force was just executing pretty well on offense, and our guys just weren't quite, I don't know if I want to say good enough, but there was something missing with this UNLV defense. And it's been a problem all year. It's going to continue to be a problem. In my opinion, I think that this UNLV football team is going to get lit up in Boise next weekend. I think it's gonna be a really tough game to win. I expect the Rebels to lose. And I know Rebel fans won't want to hear this, and we should celebrate on the good. We won this game today. We should be celebrating this game today, because how often are you 6-0? I mean, you can't keep living in the future as a team. And as a fan base, you have to live in the present. But I do worry about that UNLV defense next week in Boise, Idaho, because it really feels like teams can kind of get whatever they want. And I don't know that Paul Gunther and it's kind of funny. We had 8.1 yards per rush. Boise Air Force had 6.5. So we actually had more yards per rush than Air Force did. Penalties wise, UNLV started out the game really rough, especially the defense. And one thing I will say to UNLV's credit, to the coaching staff's credit, is the penalties did get cleaned up a lot, especially going into the second half. It was kind of early stuff. And credit to the players for not fumbling the ball as much. Kind of funny, 36 minutes to Air Force versus 23 minutes for UNLV. Normally time of possession, it's a statistic, but total yards is really more important than time of possession. And our defense was on the field for a lot of this game. And again, credit to McDuffie and the players for getting that fumble. That really changed the tenor of the whole game, as UNLV was down 8 and went from being down 8 to up a touchdown, or up about 5 points or 6 points very early on in that third quarter. Let's go over the individual stats of this game. Anthony Calandria, again, 361 yards. Really great game. 75 QB rating. That's pretty good. Not as good as it could have been, but I actually think that's kind of low. That surprises me that it's only a 75.1, but that's still a decent passer rating, a QBR rating. Jaden Bradley, again, he had his touchdown pass to Jet Thomas. That was pretty great. At least I think it was to Jet Thomas. Was it not? It might have not been to Jet Thomas. I forget who caught that touchdown on that trick play. In terms of rushing, Jet Thomas, 88 yards, only 11 carries. Preposterous, outrageous, stupid. We need to have Jet at at least 15 to 20 carries. I would love to see him above 20, but at least 15 to 20. But again, to Kevon Lee, the number 2 running back, he did have 6 carries for 59 yards. So he was an effective back. I will say I'm not unhappy with those 6 carries. And because Calandria was, completing so many passes, and a lot of this 20 of 32 was early in the game. And to Calandria's credit, I mean, he should have had over 400 yards passing in this game because UNLV players early and often. There was a play by Jaden Bradley where he dropped one. JoJo Earl dropped one early. I can't remember. There was another player who dropped another one, a really bad one on the sideline. But there were at least 4 preposterous, outrageous, horrific drops by the UNLV receiving core. So, I mean, Calandria very clearly, I think, should have been at least like 23 of 32 for 400 yards. But still, in terms of the rushing attack, Caden McGee had that one kind of jet sweep play that went for 4 yards. Jalen Glover, 2 carries for 7 yards. Not a lot there. Jalen Glover's kind of turned into our special teams guy, and he does an okay job on the special teams. But again, Jet Thomas, only 11 carries. That cannot be. And I'll get to your comments, guys. I can't see them while I'm looking at the stats. So keep leaving them, and we'll go through all of them. In terms of the UNLV receiving game, look how many guys caught passes. I mean, JoJo Earl caught that one early, but after that drop, it kind of feels like he got yanked out of the rotation. Tayshawn Lyons, haven't heard a ton from him this season, but it was good to see him get that one big catch for 18 yards. Then Coy Moore, again, not a guy that we'd seen a ton of, catches 2 passes for 27 yards. Troy Omier, who I'd love to see a bit more involved in the offense, gets those 2 catches, 14 yards apiece. Varquez Gums, tight end, gets the one catch, and he's the one that got the touchdown reception from Jaden Bradley. Jet Thomas, 6 receptions. It was good to see him. I mean, say what you want about him not getting only 11 carries. He did get 6 receptions, so we were still using Jet. I mean, Jet accounted for 135 yards of total offense. I think he could do better, but that's not his fault. I think the coaching staff just needs to put the ball in his hands more often, especially early on in the game. Jaden Bradley, solid game, did have that one drop that I was really disappointed in because he should have caught that. It should have been an 80-yard or a 60-yard gain or something. And then, of course, I think you can give the MVP, at least of the non-quarterback players, to Dejon Reynolds. Outstanding game from him. 4 receptions, 139 yards. I mean, he kind of really started to establish himself as another piece to this receiving core. Really big fan of him. In terms of the UNLV defense, Andrew Powdrill, Marcel McDuffie, Jaheim Joseph. I mean, there were guys that made good plays. It was nice to see Bryce Edmondson in the game a little bit. I thought it wasn't a great game for our defensive line. Chief Borders, Donovan Spellman. I was a little disappointed, honestly, in the UNLV defensive line in this game. And the linebackers, they were kind of holding the glue together as best as they could, but especially on the outside linebackers didn't have a great game containing the edge. And the UNLV safeties, I also thought didn't have a good game. If you want to give, and I don't want to go after any individual guy too much, but I was really disappointed in Jake Pope today. He had some good plays, some good tackles. I don't want to act like it was all bad, but a couple of really just awful penalties that I think were really quite terrible. UNLV only gets 1 tackle for loss, which, wow. And what's even more funny is that Air Force didn't get a single tackle for loss. Hilarious. And then in terms of the kicking, Ramon Villa, there was a bit too much of the field goal unit out there. The UNLV offense clearly needed to get touchdowns, and getting 3 field goals was a little disappointing. I mean, this team could have, and I think you could argue should have put up 65, 70 points on this Air Force defense. And so that's kind of where we're at. You get the team stats again. It's a win, guys. I mean, 6-0. What are you supposed to say? It was great. Let's go through your guys' comments while we were checking on the stats. Make sure. Masked Rebel, make sure you're following Masked Rebel. Appreciate him. He says the defense is opportunistic. That's all you need sometimes. Yes, and it's been enough in a few games. I think that that Wyoming game, it was definitely enough. And that Sam Houston game and the UCLA game, the defense was just good enough. In this game, though, I mean, I think it's hard to defend the defense very much. The best thing that they did in that game, and I said this, the best thing that the defense did was get off the field, was allow them to score that touchdown. And Air Force, I think if they could go back in time, they would have not scored that touchdown to go up by 4 points. They would have done everything they could to stay on the field and keep that defense on the field. The penalties weren't great. DPB, we score 70 if our wide receivers don't drop 6 passes. Absolutely Masked Rebel. And Utah State, they also put up a ton of yards against Boise, against Utah Air Force. My mistake. Steven says we also need to keep Calandria around next year. Absolutely. I think we'll probably get 2 years out of Calandria, but to be honest, guys, he's going to get huge offers from a lot of big schools to come play quarterback. And so I feel optimistic that I think Mullen's going to stay at least one more year, at least next year as well. I think there's going to be a sentiment around the program that next year is going to kind of be like the dream season, like the pinnacle season, kind of like it was with Barry Odom, where that first year was kind of a building thing, and then the second year was kind of the dream season. I think there's kind of going to be a similar sentiment around Dan Mullen and Anthony Calandria, and I think Dan Mullen, if he plays his cards right with Anthony Calandria, can get Calandria a look in the NFL. I'm not saying I don't think Calandria is ever going to be a quarterback in the NFL, really. But he could get a look, maybe to be a backup quarterback, and he has enough talent, honestly, that maybe he could. And Mullen, I think, will keep him in good hands. So we have a chance to keep Calandria, but it's going to be difficult, guys. I will say that it's going to be difficult. Crowd was a bit sleepy early, but boy, down the stretch they woke up. Yeah, it was really tough to. The crowd was actually, it was kind of difficult to get excited on defense because our defense was so porous. And I felt bad. I wanted the players to have a bit more support, but they were just, we just couldn't stop Air Force at all. And so ultimately, it was a little bit, I think, a disappointing crowd, to be honest with you. I don't know the actual attendance number, but I'd be shocked if it was over 30,000. I was actually pretty bummed out by the attendance today. I think a 5-0 team deserved a bigger attendance. And ultimately, it had been a month since our last home game against UCLA. And so it's hard to get on the people too much, but this is a 5-0 football team, and we had a not the most exciting opponent in the world coming into Allegiant Stadium, but certainly one of the most exciting games I've ever seen come into Allegiant Stadium. Let me just check the attendance. I don't think it was over 30,000. Let's see what they say. The attendance was, it said 32,000. That surprises me so they announced 32,932. I'd be surprised if it was over 30,000, but that's not as bad as I thought. And there was obviously a short staffing issue at Allegiant Stadium today. So a lot of the lines were a lot longer. And so early it looked a bit worse than it could have. Curious how many teams rush for over 400 yards and still lose. Not very many, let me tell you that. The Boise defense that gave up 514 yards to the same team. Absolutely. This Boise State defense, I actually really like their defensive line. But in the secondary, there's vulnerabilities, although they have been playing a bit better since that Air Force game. I think we're going to be able to score against Boise. I just worry that it's just tough playing on the road. That Boise crowd's going to be amped. It's going to be tough. I'll be honest. I think we're better off when teams play a balanced attack. People do us a favor when they turn to pass. Yeah, I agree. AC to Reynolds is what dreams are made of. Yeah, this is one of my favorite burners. So Blurt, thank you, man. Appreciate good seeing you on the show today. Lions, he had a huge catch. I agree. I think we played better with Jet today. Yeah, we did. Jet and Kevon both had good games. We keep Mullen, we keep Calandria. Yes, we can hope. I'm going to keep moving down. The middle of our defense is brutal. Yeah, it kind of feels like we're asking, those cartoons where you have a guy trying to plug all those different holes. It feels like we're asking Marcel McDuffie in the middle of this defense to basically have his finger in 10 different holes that are leaking into the collective ship that is the UNLV defense. It's remarkable how much we are asking him to do. And credit to him that he's doing the best that he can. I really respect what McDuffie is doing this year with a defense that's just not quite there. Sergeant Morhew, good to see you, brother. Woo, 6-0. Yep, you better believe it. I think they said 33K. Thank you. That's all for the team's holy typo. Thank you. Okay, that's the attendance. Yeah, 33,932. So almost 33,000 people at this UNLV football game. Surprised me. Way too many drops. I totally agree, Jason. Good to see you, fellow Jason Rubin. Appreciate you, man. So where does this UNLV team go from here? It's big week now. Listen, nobody in the college sports world, nobody in Vegas, the sports books, not really any of the fans. I'm sure that fans will believe that we have a shot to go up there and beat Boise. And as a 6-0 team, it's tough to call yourself. Master Rebel says team of destiny. Believe. Yeah, I agree. Sometimes we score so fast, the defense is always on the field. Absolutely. It's going to be really tough next week to go in and beat this Boise team. But the fact that we, again, think about the games that this team has won this season. That Miami of Ohio game, we were down 14 three separate times. That UCLA game, we allowed them back into the game. That Idaho State game, we were down by a touchdown in the fourth quarter. Um, that Wyoming game, on the first play of the game, we fumble a ball and give Wyoming 3 points. Wow, this team wins, man. Like, I don't think we're a great team. I don't think we're a college football playoff team, but at 6-0, we still have a chance. And it's going to be really tough to win in Boise. I'm not going to pick us. I think, honestly, I imagine that Boise UNLV fans might be upset with how I'm going to feel about that game. I'm probably going to pick UNLV to lose at Boise by 2 to 3 touchdowns. I think it's going to be. I don't think it's going to be a very close game, but we've got a chance because we can score. And that's the thing. You look at teams like Wyoming that struggled to put up points. You look up teams like Colorado State up until recently that struggled to score. When you can score, yes, you put yourself in vulnerable positions. And if your defense isn't good, but if you can score, you have a chance. And this UNLV football team, I don't think they're going to win in Boise, but I can't say that they don't have a chance. They have a chance, and it's a good chance. This team isn't as good as we were last season, but I think our offense is actually more explosive than it was last season. I feel like teams in the Mountain West especially kind of figured out the go-go option offense that we ran under Brennan Marion a little bit. And I like this team a little. It's a little bit more versatile. And I will say that, at halftime, I said UNLV is going to need to score at least 41 points to win this game. Little did I know it was actually 51 points. Unreal. But one thing that's concerning to me is Corey Dennis, the offensive coordinator. There's so much talent on this offense. We can score with the best of them. And early on in games, our play calling is not optimal. And everybody in the building knows that Dan Mullen should be the one calling the plays. He can do it. He's done it before in his career. And I get that he doesn't want to. He wants to have a more balanced staff. But this UNLV team needs Dan Mullen to call the plays, or at least needs more input from Dan Mullen in the bye week, in the week leading up to preparation of games, on the types of plays that Corey Dennis, our offensive coordinator, should call. The number of carries that Jet's getting is unacceptable. He should be getting more touches. He should be getting more runs. Some of the first down play calling, I think, is kind of concerning. I feel like we throw away first down way too often. And I believe in Dan Mullen as an offensive mind, and therefore I believe in this team's offense, but I worry about Corey Dennis. I do. Let's see. Rebel X Factor. I agree. They find ways to win games. Steven says, I was thinking of the home. I predict 31-20 Boise. Yeah, I think it's like a 38-24 victory for Boise State. I think UNLV puts up a fight, but I think we'll score some points. It's going to be tough to win in Boise. I think people underestimate how good of a home, not people from Boise, obviously, but people from Vegas, I think, underestimate how good of a home environment that Boise State stadium is. What a damn day. Absolutely, X Factor Rebel. Sorry I'm late. You're good, man. It's good to see you, man. I appreciate the Jack Sparrow moniker. As you see, I did another follow-up tweet to my original one when we went 4-0 and beat Miami. I posted Jack Sparrow again. People may say that we're the worst 6-0 team they've ever heard of, but they have heard of us. And then the other one that I did was the Aragon from Lord of the Rings, where it's like, one day our defense might fail us and we might lose a game. And our defense did fail us today, and we might lose a game, but not today. It is not this day. Reb Robert says, wait and see how Boise does versus UNM. Boise's not good. I think Boise's good. I don't know. I don't think they're great, but they're good. They're definitely, I think, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think they're the best team in the Mountain West. I don't really think it's that close. I just don't think the Mountain West is that great this year. I feel like the American is really taking strides, but Boise's vulnerable. But they're just going to be at the top of their game against us at UNLV, especially a 6-0 UNLV team. Boise is not going to come out sleepy for that game. They're going to be on top of it. So let's see how they do versus New Mexico. You're right. Coach Eck and the New Mexico Lobos will absolutely pull out every stop to try and win that game. So I guess we'll see. I wouldn't be shocked if they find a way to win up there somehow. I mean, they found a way to win every game so far, so it's tough to count them out completely. It's a good chance. Toughness. Yeah, the DC, though, I guess we can move on to Gunther and the defense. I'm really disappointed in our defense and our defensive scheme and, the collective. I will say I respect the defense for not having the penalties that they had in the first half. besides that horrific one, the face mask that basically allowed Air Force to get a touchdown at the end of the game by Jake Pope. But the defense, they're opportunistic. We did not get the turnover luck that we usually get today. We did have that one fumble, but I mean, one fumble does happen in the game. I wouldn't say the turnovers won us the game, although it was imperative that we got that turnover. But this team cannot rely on turnovers to save it. And right now, we kind of are relying on turnovers to save us. And our offense essentially has to play, because of how the defense is playing, our offense has to play perfectly for us to win games against good teams. And this Air Force team, they're not a good team, but they're certainly an explosive team and a dangerous team. They can score like nobody's business. And when you can score, like I said, you have a chance. Morhew, 40% chance for UNLV at Boise. Yeah, the crowd is legit. I'd say maybe 25, maybe 20. I mean, you have a puncher's chance. It's going to be tough though. And UNLV at 6-0, they've won a bunch of games that they shouldn't have won, and so they are. I guess you could say they're playing with house money a little bit. They're going to be a big underdog. As much as Boise State fans are gonna love saying that UNLV is coming into this game cocky because we're 6-0, we fully recognize that we're a flawed team. We're 6-0, and there's no such thing as a bad 6-0 team, but we definitely have our flaws. And I think we're playing with house money in Boise. I mean, we're the underdog. Nobody expects us to win. We're the nobody believes in us team. We're the cardiac kids that find ways to win games. And I think they could do it. I mean, they have a chance. I'm not going to predict it, but they could. You never know. Defense commits so many penalties in crucial situations, especially in that first half, Jason. I agree with you. Who replaces Mullen when he leaves? Corey Dennis or Urban Meyer? Definitely not Urban Meyer. I think Urban Meyer, he's kind of like, Dan Mullen's mentor in a sense. And I don't expect Urban Meyer to get back to, if he comes back to college, I expect it to be at one of the top 5 jobs in the country, not UNLV. Let's see, Welch might have CTE. Yeah, I was worried about him and that hit that he took. A recommendation, if you're not for a Discord server, your channel, if you're not for a Discord server for your channel, add in your username so we can chat. I'll look into it. Thank you. Lots of undefeated teams falling this week. UNLV wasn't one of them. Absolutely. You never apologize for winning. I don't care how you win. You never apologize for winning. Masked Rebel says last year's team also relied on turnovers, and it got us to a doorstep with a worse offense. Bend don't break. Yeah, I think the defense was better, even though they did rely on turnovers. The defense was a lot better than this defense is last year, and Odom, I think, and Shearer as a defensive kind of duo really gave UNLV a chance in a lot of games and really shut down UNLV's opponents a lot of times, especially against weaker teams. This year's team can't really do that. I think last year's team was better. If you could give last year's defense and this year's offense put together, you'd have a dang good football team. Calandria is the best player in the Mountain West. He's bailed us out time and again. I know the Bryson Barnes stuff, and Bryson Barnes might very well be playing as the best quarterback in the Mountain West, but I think Calandria is the best quarterback in the Mountain West, and I think that there's more than enough data to back that opinion up. Let me make sure I'm not missing any more comments because we are just about to go out of here. I will have several previews for this game. But I totally agree with you for this game against Boise. Sergeant Morhew, Jet needs the football more. Mullen's in a back bounce situation here. I think he stays for a long time, in my opinion. If I had to say Mullen is going to stay for 2 years or 5 years, I would say 2 years. I'd say there's a higher chance that he stays for 2 years instead of 5 years. And the thing about the way that UNLV did his contract is Mullen leaving us will get us a juicy paycheck and will allow us to kind of build into the future. Mullen is kind of, even though it's not with the same players and the same rosters, the reason why you get Mullen is to continue that upward trajectory that we had under Barry Odom. And he is doing it. I am thrilled with Dan Mullen. I wish we had a better defensive coordinator. Sadly, our defensive coordinator was caught naked in a Wendy's drive-thru. Allegedly, no, we don't actually think that's true, but nobody's ever denied it. And we had to basically had to move on from our defensive coordinator and Gunther just, I think you're seeing the same issues with Paul Gunther that you're seeing with Chapel Bill, in North Carolina. You're seeing a lot of the same problems. And so NFL players, NFL defensive coordinators, NFL coaches, the college game is different. And you, the Baconator, yep. It's tough to adjust. It's tough to adjust to the college game because it's different, especially a team like Air Force. I mean, there's no offense like Air Force. in the NFL, and that's where Paul Gunther spent most of his time being fired. And I don't think he's not even officially Paul Gunther the defensive coordinator. He's still like an interim tag essentially. So UNLV is not going to have Paul Gunther next year at his Wendy's story is untrue. Yes, I think it is untrue. It's kind of just turned into a joke. I feel pretty much confident that it's completely untrue, but it's been kind of a fun joke and I feel bad that it's at Zach Arnett's expense. I hope he doesn't take it personally. I don't mean it personally. There was a coach that did a drive-through Wendy's naked several years ago, though. Yeah, that must be where it came from then. Morehue says, I honestly wish Zach stayed. I think it's a fireable offense to let the guy apologize and play ball. Just my 2 cents. Yeah, I don't know exactly why Zach Arnett left, but whatever's going on with this team, the defense isn't quite there. But hey, as long as you're undefeated, you control your own destiny. I'm proud to be a Rebel. I was sitting at that game and, with my parents and with a bunch of diehard UNLV people around me. And I had an intense sense of gratitude for this fan base, for this community that you're all a part of, that you guys have helped, kind of me get going here in the last couple of years. I'm grateful that we have I'm grateful that we have a community of really, you guys are just good people, man. Like Rebel fans that I know that there's a couple of people that we kind of like to poke fun at and that maybe we aren't a huge fan of, but the vast majority of Rebel fans are so great and they're insightful and they're smart. And this is just an awesome fan base. And I want to thank you, whoever you are listening, for just a fun game. I mean, I get next week, a week from today, we might be upset about this Boise State, say a Boise State loss. But today, we're 6-0. And I love that this UNLV football team, regardless, I know that they're imperfect, but they're going out there and they're winning games and they're doing it in fun fashion. And there's not a fan base that I would rather, I've had people say, oh man, you cover UNLV. And I think, man, no, UNLV is the best, man. UNLV is awesome. This city's awesome. I love Las Vegas with all my heart. I was sworn in as an attorney yesterday in the state of Nevada. And you guys are just wonderful. And I'm grateful for a 6-0 team. Even if it's an imperfect team, it's our team. It's our team. And I think it's our job to kind of root for them. All they can do is win. And that's all they're doing. Even guys like Paul Gunther, I mean, I get it. We're frustrated with the defense, but all they can do is win. And that's all that they're doing. And just win, man. 2 words for you guys. I got 2 flipping words for you. Bowl eligible. Bowl eligible. Think about that. 3 straight years from 2008 to 2015 or 2023, we had like 1 bowl eligible season. And now we're coming off of 3 bowl eligible years. I can't wait. And hey, we're playing with house money in Boise. Nobody expects us to win. Boise's going to be favored by like 10 or 11 points. I hope that this UNLV football team goes up there and just gives it everything it has and plays its heart out. And you never know. I'm not going to pick, but I mean, it's crazy. And I'm grateful to stand in a room with you guys and chant Rebels, Rebels. Nothing gives me more catharsis, happiness, joy. So I expect you guys. I expect us to win. Why not? Why not us? Why not go beat this Boise team? Nobody's going to think we're going to. Why not go do it? So, guys, let me know. That's my final 2 cents for everything you do. I love UNLV. I love Vegas sports. It's simply time to wake up and realize we got something here. Potential. Time to not be a gimmick. Time to talk about things that actually matter because our future depends on it. Yep. This is your team. And I hope as a UNLV fan, whether you agree with me or not, you feel like this is your podcast, that you can come on and talk after games. I cannot wait. Like Tavon says, I cannot wait to talk about Run Rebel basketball too. I cannot wait. And so the coverage is going to be good, guys. Thank you so much. You guys have an awesome day. I'm going to end the broadcast there, but we're going to have 3 or 4 banger videos this week preparing for Boise State with great guests. I think I'm going to have on some really good people that you're really going to enjoy. So please like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching on YouTube. Thanks, Perry. I appreciate you. You're awesome, dude. Perry, you always have a great stuff. You always have great stuff to say, Perry. So I appreciate you. And thank you, Steven, too. You guys have a wonderful night. We will talk pregame for Boise, and I will have 3 or 4 really good videos up. Make sure I'm not missing any comments. Sorry, the comments come in out of order, but Shoot me a DM if you want to talk Rebel Hoops. If you're at the games, please shoot me a DM. I'd love to come shake your hand somewhere. And you guys, God bless you, man. Just, this is the best. I'm grateful. I'm just so grateful for you guys. So you guys have an awesome rest of your day, and let's run. 6-0 bowling, baby. Woo, woo, woo.